Why don't we tell all of them where to go and walk out of here friends?
Baby, I could be a much better friend with $4 million.
Halle Berry plays one of three women, each convinced that she is the widow of 50s rock and roll star Frankie Lyman in Why Do Fools Fall in Love? One of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers were doo-wop singers from the streets of New York who had one big hit in Why Do Fools Fall in Love and a few other hits, and Frankie had a hit of his own called Goody Goody. He had his moment in the spotlight, and then he faded and became just one more name on the marquee at oldie but goodie rock and roll shows. Frankie Lyman became a heroin addict and died in 1967, but almost 20 years later, 3 different women came forward, each one claiming to be his widow.
Yeah, baby, you call the police and tell them we got 2 imposters up here running a scam because I'm Miss Frankie Lyman.
I'm Mrs. Frankie Lyman.
I am Mrs. Frankie Lyman.
It's a damn game show.
Those are Halle Berry as a rock and roll star in her own right as a member of the Platters, Vivica A. Fox as a shoplifter, and Leela Roshan as a school teacher. The movie intercuts their courtroom testimony with flashbacks to Frankie Lyman's career, which is remembered by eyewitnesses like Little Richard.
Do you know Zola Taylor?
Oh, yes. Hi, babe.
Hey, babe.
And did you know about a marriage between she and Frankie Lyman?
Everybody know about it.
Frankie is played by Lorenz Tate, who was so good in Love Jones and whose energy and smile help explain why Frankie Lyman became an overnight star. Sometimes Frankie gets his wives crossed. It's when one wife comes home to find a different wife in her Los Angeles pool.
Where is my husband? Your husband? Yes, my husband. Where is he?
See, that wig you got on must be too tight if you think that Frankie is your husband because he is my husband.
Why Do Fools Fall in Love has a lot of energy and some great musical numbers, and the characters are well cast. It's directed by Gregory Nava, whose Selena, though, was a much better movie about the life and death of a singing star. This film isn't very involving because there's no one we really care about. All of the wives have halfway plausible cases, so there's no one really to root for, and the movie doesn't really try to explain Frankie Lyman, who seems to have been a cut-and-dried case, an overnight sensation who crashed and burned on drugs. At the end, I was left sort of indifferent.
Well, I like this film more than you did. I wasn't emotionally involved in him, as you say. But I realize, as just entertainment, I love this whole era, 50s rock and rollers. I have virtually liked, to some degree, every single one of the pictures in this era that have been made. La Bamba, Buddy Holly's Story, all of these films, they get me.
Well, the music is terrific.
Irresistible.
And the newness of it, the fact that something is happening right now. This movie opens with a great shot as we go into this theater and turn around and look 360 degrees at the crowd and wind up on the stage behind the performers, and you see how close they were to the audience and how much fun it was. So it's a close call in my case. My real feeling was if there was somebody in the plot to root for, it would have put it over the top for me because it's a very entertaining film in a lot of ways.
Yeah, the women, you're right. There isn't anybody that stands out.
They're all good actresses, and they all do a good job. It's just that
you're not rooting for one of them to get the money, let's put it that way.
That's right, yeah.
Next film. Our next film is A Merry War, a brightly written romance about whether a sweet, talented young man can manage to be successful both as a poet and as an advertising writer.
Today I have written for the New Albion Publicity Company the slogan, New Hope for the Ruptured.
What did I tell you? You're the best in the business.
For a poet, there is no satisfaction in new hope for the ruptured.
That's Richard E. Grant as our man and Helena Bonham Carter as his long-suffering sweetheart.
William Shakespeare wrote, "We are such stuff as dreams are made on." William Blake wrote, "Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night." Gordon Comstock wrote, "Corner table enjoys his meal with Bovex."
Well, you're not Shakespeare, and you're not quite William Blake.
He resembles to me sort of an English Jimmy Stewart, so relaxed and instantly likable. He also has some very wise insights about the world, which he acquires when he quits his ad job to become a struggling artist.
That's what the people here think of your Bovex civilization. Your beautiful drawings, my beautiful words. The kids draw moustaches on the women, on the men, then they rip the whole thing to pieces. You see here, where we are now, this is civilization.
A Merry War is based on a novel by George Orwell called Keep the Aspidistra Flying. And the story seeks to draw a parallel between a hardy plant that is almost indestructible, and this man who takes a licking and keeps on ticking too. How's that for ad copy? Think that would ever work? No, probably not. And the movie, A Merry War, works because we end up caring deeply about the survival of both the plant and the man. Thumbs up for me.
I liked it too. I liked it as a satire on the advertising world of the 1930s with these stupid slogans. And the guy who thinks, well, I'm going to quit this and become a poet. And his boss says, what's the difference? Ads and poetry use all the same words. And he goes out there and he finds that the most important thing in being a poet is having money. You know, if you're cold and hungry, you can't write very well. The starving garret doesn't work. And so he learns this hard lesson, and at the same time has to deal with this woman who loves him, but he doesn't have any money to take her anywhere.
And again, this film is a rare one that qualifies about a writer, an artist, where you feel the work is being done on the screen as you see it, and that's very special.
And it's interesting that the work really isn't very good.
I know.
There's a reason to think he may not have much of a future as a poet. Maybe
New Hope for the Ruptured. I love that.
Better doing that, yes. Later in the show, Vanessa L. Williams is torn between an old lover and a new one in Dance With Me. And coming up next, Ben Stiller, Jason Patrick, and Nastasia Kinski make love and war in Your Friends and Neighbors.
I want to hold you. You want to get some coffee?
Can I buy you lunch?
You don't want to have a drink with me? I can take it. I have a healthy self-image.
Disney invites you on a magical journey.
Welcome to England, Pocahontas.
Pocahontas 2, Journey to a New World. Pocahontas travels to England to bring peace between her two worlds.
If you insist on war, my people will fight.
Now she must choose between her past and her future. With an all-star cast and 5 spectacular new songs, it's Disney's Pocahontas 2, Journey to a New World, only on video. On sale now.
No idea what happened. I mean, something happened. Obviously, something happened, and I don't know what it was, but you just turned on me. Come on. She says I talk. Okay? I'm a talker.
Two men played by Ben Stiller and Aaron Eckhart there discuss problems with women in Your Friends and Neighbors, which is the sharp-edged and merciless new film by Neil LaBute, who created such a storm with his first movie last year, In the Company of Men. That film is about two men playing a cruel trick on a woman. This one is equal opportunity, with almost all of the characters equally selfish, egotistical, and cut off from one another. Later, Eckhart tries to have a heart-to-heart talk with his wife, played by Amy Brenneman.
I just think we need to do it more often. Not make it so special. I mean, it'll be special when it happens. Don't misunderstand me.
I mean, is this really the best place for this, do you think?
The character played by Jason Patrick joins the other two men in still another discussion of their frustrating and yet relentlessly self-examined existence.
Well, what's your best then?
Hey, I asked the question.
If we're going to be revealing here, let's at least be fair about this stuff.
Okay, mine would be my wife.
Nobody picked their wife. Except maybe on a talk show.
One of the less cynical relationships involves Catherine Keener and Nastasia Kinski. Keener's thing is that she wants people to shut up. After a while, she just can't stand the sound of their voices.
For me, when I'm with a person, I figure at that moment I'm doing it because I want to be doing it. I don't really want to chat, you know? And personally, I could give a how they like the sound of my name. But any talking at all, seriously, just kills it for me.
Those scenes give a flavor, I hope, of the movie, which is like a condensation of half-overheard conversations in trendy restaurants between people who are locked into themselves and out of any empathy with anyone else. In just 2 films, Neil LaBute has become a lacerating critic of the materialist society in which people raised as consumers have started to consume one another. Your Friends and Neighbors is one of the year's best films.
It doesn't rate that high with me, Roger.
Really?
Yeah, and it surprised me because I so admired his first picture. These people are hateful toward each other, and so consistently so. I guess I wanted some space in there. I wanted an entry point, and
well,
I didn't find
I got
one.
The entry point in their unhappiness, in their loneliness, in the fact that they're reaching out but they don't have any tools to reach out with. And I loved the close observation of exactly the way they talk, the way they behave, the spaces they live in. The movie is not set in any particular city. All of the scenes are indoors, so we can't say, oh, look at those people from New York, or look how they live in Los Angeles. This is the danger that people are in these days, I think, that lacking the organic kind of community that we were lucky enough to grow up in, they're just cut off.
Well, I would say it probably goes to families. I don't think these people come out of families where caring and tenderness were ever expressed.
And they don't create families either, and that's what the movie is about, and that's why it's important, I think.
Well, I mean, listen, if it is describing a reality, yes, the film is important because it's a horror show in that regard. But I just felt that coming right after In the Company of Man, I've sort of seen this before. Aaron Eckhart, again, plays one of the scariest guys around.
Well, you know, I think a director has a right to his own style and to a consistent style over a period of movies. You don't say that Scorsese has done it before or Altman has done it before. They're developing.
Well, we'll see. I would say that he ought to consider putting in an entry point, putting someone who isn't so completely and utterly sour on themselves and other people.
Isn't Kinski the entry point?
Not enough for me, I guess. Coming up next, Vanessa L. Williams finds love on the dance floor in Dance With Me.
It's crowded.
What do you mean? We have the whole floor. Permiso? You see?
Vanessa L. Williams learns to dance Cuban style in Dance With Me, a colorful, if familiar, romance set mostly in the Houston dance studio where Williams is an instructor. And drawn to her is the new handyman named Raphael. He is played by the international singing star known simply as Cheyenne. They do have chemistry, but it's Vanessa L. Williams who supplies most of the combustible elements.
I compete professionally in the Latin dances.
I've never seen a Latin dance that looks like that.
Stick around.
Cheyenne's rival is Williams' ex-partner, who is also the father of her son. They reunite for a world dance competition in Las Vegas. In between dance sequences, Dance With Me is fairly conventional.
What about the night we danced?
That was different.
That's my point.
This is not easy for me.
Of course it is. That's why you're doing it.
I don't want to be in love.
As colorful and as entertaining as it is, Dance With Me suffers by comparison with last year's Japanese ballroom dancing film, Shall We Dance, which had a greater sociological importance. Dance With Me is simply attractive people going through the paces of a standard romance. A mixed review, but Vanessa L. Williams is strong enough to tip the scale to get the film a thumbs up, a marginal one for me.
Oh, I thought she was terrific, and I think I liked the film a little better than you did. I don't think it is a conventional romance. She is absolutely not interested in romance at all, and she's prepared to go off with her former partner and dedicate her entire life to ballroom dancing, and it's really touch and go as to what will happen. At the same time, you have all of that great human interest in the studio with Chris Christopherson as the old guy who runs the studio but would rather be fishing, and the other customers and clients and their little in-group, and then Vanessa Williams. I guess I knew she could dance. I mean, that's one of her skills. She is terrific. And looking at this movie, you want the Astaire Rogers pictures to come back so she could do the.
Listen, I want dance films
pictures
to come.
Like let's see, and let's have Vanessa Williams make another dance picture.
Fine with me. The dance film and what has happened to it is one of the tragedies of recent American cinema. But this is a very talented woman, and we really get to see it in full flower here. Terrific.
It's a great showcase. Okay, next movie. And our next movie is a superhero saga named Blade, based on the popular comic book about a character who is half vampire and half something else. He's not sure just what. Maybe not human. And he's dedicated his life to fighting vampires who are secretly buying up and taking over the great American cities. He's played by Wesley Snipes, and his vampire archenemy named Frost is played by Stephen Dorff.
It's a shame, you know? When I think of what you become, what you should have become, I guess I don't blame you. I mean, with everything that's happened, it's the human side of you that's made you weak. You should have listened to your blood.
You can say what you want, but I promise you, you'll be dead by dawn.
Blade rescues a blood specialist, played by Nebuchadnezzar Wright, from an attack by a vampire in a morgue and helps her to freedom. Vinny brings her back to headquarters where a mysterious old vampire fighter, played by Chris Christopherson once again, has raised him and trained him for the war against vampires.
She's been bitten. Should have killed her then. Yeah, I know. But I didn't.
The vampires have a secret temple where they plan their conquest, and in the film's climactic scenes, it's Blade for humanity against the hordes of the undead. Blade joins a recent group of comic book superheroes who have been brought to the big screen. Batman and Superman, of course, come to mind, and also the Crow, the Phantom, the Mask, Spawn, the Men in Black. Who have I left out?
I'm waiting for Archie and Jughead.
Oh, Archie, I'd like to see Veronica in particular.
Yeah, okay, and
on
Betty.
the big screen.
Yeah, I like Veronica better.
Okay.
Always brunettes, never blondes.
Very good. In this film, Wesley Snipes brings menace and a certain vulnerability to the role of Blade, which is in the spirit of a comic book with extreme camera angles, simple but strong relationships, a colorful villain, martial arts, a secret laboratory, and, of course, the obligatory apocalyptic conflict at the end. It's a good-looking picture, it has high energy, and the vampire stuff adds just enough detail to give the movie texture. I liked it.
I did too. High energy might be an understatement.
Yes,
I mean, right,
yeah.
you know.
But this is focused energy, unlike
Exactly.
Armageddon,
That's what I was
which was all over the map. This is targeted.
That is exactly where I was leading to. That was the comparison I made. At times, it is as noisy. There's enough camera cutting as Armageddon, but this picture has a sensibility to it.
Yes,
it is
does.
consistent.
Yeah.
It makes sense. And, you know, if you like effects, check this one out.
Okay, coming up next, my video pick of the week, a science fiction thriller that is, in my opinion, one of the year's best movies.
What exactly is in this, Doctor?
The ultimate Derek Jeter is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. At the movies or at home, Raisinets.
My video pick this week is Dark City, a visionary futuristic epic about a haunted noir city where aliens totally control the lives of the humans who don't realize that their lives are all part of a sinister experiment. Rufus Sewell stars as a man whose fragmented memories suggest there must be something more.
So it seems you've discovered your unpleasant nature.
How are you?
We might ask the same question.
William Hurt is a policeman who keeps covering the same ground again and again. Jennifer Connelly is a young woman who seems to figure in the hero's memories, and Kiefer Sutherland is a man who remembers just enough to try to sound a warning. The look of the film, directed by Alex Proyas, is as strong and original as any film this year.
I'm sorry about this, I truly am. But we do not have much time, and I cannot afford the luxury of doing this the right way. Everything you need to know, all the answers are in this syringe. I need you to inject yourself. It's the only way to make you understand.
Dark City is being released on tape, laserdisc, and DVD, and the DVD version includes an audio commentary track featuring my own scene-by-scene analysis of the movie, which I studied for 5 days last spring with film students at the University of Colorado. And by the way, I don't receive any payment from sales or rentals of the movie, but no matter how you watch it on VHS, laser, or DVD, Dark City is a great film, and it's my video pick of the week.
Another look at the movies we reviewed this week. A split vote on Why Do Fools Fall in Love, the Frankie Lyman story, which is made with energy and well acted, but Roger felt lacked a character he could really care about. 2 thumbs up for A Merry War with Richard E. Grant and Helena Bonham Carter. We liked its offbeat humor based on George Orwell's novel. A split vote on Your Friends and Neighbors, the new film from Neil LaBute. Roger liked its hard-edged social commentary. I thought that director LaBute was giving us just more of the same. 2 thumbs up for the romantic and charming Dance With Me with Vanessa L. Williams giving a performance combining drama with dynamite dancing. And finally, 2 thumbs up for Blade with Wesley Snipes as a vampire hunting superhero in a most energetic and exciting special effects adventure film. I think sometimes we get the rap that we don't like special effects pictures. And I'm saying Blade qualifies as a good one.
I love special effects pictures. Look at Dark City.
I may be speaking for myself.
Okay, remember you can hear our reviews on the web at Siskel-Ebert.com, and next week we'll be back with a special show called Breakout Stars, in which Gene and I both select new actors on the edge of big things, actors like Jennifer Lopez, Aaron Eckhart, and Parker Posey. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.